Guys, if you are skinny fat right now, you are making some fatal nutrition mistakes. And if we just make a few small changes to your current diet and nutrition strategy, you will see far better results. Because I have never met a man with a perfect diet model and perfect nutrition strategy that was skinny fat. It just doesn't happen. I've never seen it, okay? So in this video, I'm gonna break down the exact diet model and nutrition framework that I went through myself to go from looking pretty skinny fat and not having a great physique and being a so-called hard gainer to now having, a pretty aesthetic physique, if I do say so myself. But this is also the framework that I take all of my clients through as well to help them lose fat, build muscle, and just overall have an aesthetic physique. Now, before we get into it, if you are skinny fat and you are serious about change and you are not a pussy, okay, I've got a coaching program specifically designed for you. Now, I can't work with everyone, certainly not going to work with pussies, okay, but if it sounds like something you might be remotely interested in, I've got a link down below. You can submit an application, we can have a chat, and we can see if it's a good fit. All right, so let's get into the video. If you are skinny fat right now, what nutrition framework should you be thinking about? Well, the first thing that I want to say is all diets can work. Okay, there is no best diet. Everyone around there is looking for the magic diet. Is it keto, carnivore, vegan, paleo, sugar diet, honey diet, intermittent fasting, OMAD? Listen, guys, there is no best diet. The best diet for you is the one you're going to stick to, okay? So everything that I'm about to talk about, just keep that in mind, is compliance is the science. The best diet is the one that you're able to stick to. And the best diet for me, what might not necessarily be the best diet for you. Okay, so when it comes to nutrition, we only have 3 variables to play with. I'm surprised people manage to complicate nutrition so much because we really don't have many variables to play with. And the first variable is what to eat. What should you actually eat? Should you do keto, carnivore, paleo, vegan? What foods should you actually eat? Well, I'm not actually going to give you my opinion because people get so religious when it comes to diet and everyone says their diet's the best. Listen, I don't care what diet you eat, but as long as you follow this one golden rule. And the golden rule is to eat real whole foods. So you can choose whatever diet that you want to eat as long as it's eat real foods, okay? Real whole foods. What does that mean? Well, ask yourself, was it recently alive? Did it grow in the ground, run on the ground, swim in the sea, or fly in the air? Was it recently alive? Then you can eat it. If it wasn't, don't eat it. Okay, now that we've covered what you should eat, the next variable that we can manipulate is when to eat. Does it matter when you should be eating? Maybe you've heard of the anabolic window, okay? You ever heard about the anabolic window? After training, you need to get your protein in within 60 minutes, otherwise you miss the anabolic window. Is the anabolic window something you should be concerned about if you are skinny fat right now? No. It's not, okay? The anabolic window, if you're a top 1% athlete or if you're someone who's highly optimized and you're at the top of your game, then yes, you need to worry about this stuff. But if you're skinny fat right now, let's face it, you're probably not at the top of your game unless you're more of like a cardio or endurance athlete. Sometimes you can be extremely fit and have a skinny fat physique. That is possible, but I'm assuming that's not you, although if it is, then maybe you want to pay attention to this. But for 99% of men who are skinny fat, you do not need to worry about the anabolic window. And in fact, when you eat, in terms of meal timings, it doesn't matter that much. I don't really care whether you eat 2 meals or 4 meals or 6 meals. There is an advantage to having more or less meals depending on whether you're trying to gain weight or lose weight. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to say that the only rule that I've got for you about when to eat is eat when the sun is up. Is it daylight outside? Yes, eat. If it's not daylight outside, no, don't eat. Now, if it's just, 1 or 2 hours after the sun has gone down and you're having dinner, no big deal, okay? Now, another thing on that is you don't want to be eating too close to bedtime, all right? So if you eat when the sun is up, chances are when your last meal is going to be a decent amount of time before you actually go to sleep. And the reason why you want to do this is because this would have been more evolutionary consistent. If you think about how humans have evolved over hundreds of thousands of years, we wouldn't have been eating that much at night because it's simply, we're just not built to be hunting or awake at night. We would have been asleep at night and we would have been awake during the day, and that's where we would have eaten the majority of our meals. So I really don't care when you eat or how many meals that you eat, as long as you just try and stick to the rule that you eat when the sun is up. Okay, now that we've covered what to eat and when to eat, the next variable that we can manipulate, the third variable, is how much should we eat? How much to eat, okay? Now this is really going to depend on you. I can't give you just a flat rule like I've given you for the first two. It's really going to depend, but you only have three options, okay? You can eat to gain weight, you can eat to maintain, or you can eat to lose weight, okay? That's it. You've just got three options when it comes to how much. Should you gain? Should you maintain? Should you lose? What should you do? Well, it really depends, okay? Because you can imagine, skinny fat is a broad term, okay? And it really exists on a spectrum. And if you imagine this is like a skinny fat spectrum here, and this end we've got like skinny, okay? And this is like skinny but more fat. It's like skinny fat, okay? Where you lie on here is going to dictate whether you should gain weight or lose weight or maintain weight. And in fact, I actually wouldn't recommend gaining. I wouldn't recommend eating in a calorie surplus for anyone. So your choice is maintain or lose. Now, if you're skinny fat, you want to be losing weight, okay? You want to be in a calorie deficit. However, if you're skinny fat, you're kind of very skinny, and you do have a little bit of body fat, but you're more skinny than you are fat, then for you, I'd recommend eating at maintenance right now, okay? So that's your two options. You can either eat to lose weight or you can eat to maintain. And the reason why you don't want to go into a gaining phase right now is if you have excess body fat, the more body fat you have, and when you eat in a calorie surplus, the more likely your body is to store more body fat than build more muscle. So ideally, we want to get you lean first. Ideally, you want to be somewhere between 10 to 15% body fat before we go into a gaining phase. Okay, so now that we've established that your options are to either maintain weight or lose weight, how do you know how much food you should be eating in order to maintain or lose? Well, in order to explain that, we need to understand calories. Now, I'm sure you're all familiar with calories already, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but calories is essentially the energy from the food that you eat. All foods that we eat contain a certain amount of calories, and every single day we're burning calories as well, just through living, just through sitting here right now, just through breathing, me talking to you, I'm burning calories. Whenever we do any form of exercise or anything, or just sleeping, even just ticking our brain over and making our heart pump, it costs calories. So every single day we have two numbers that we need to worry about. We have calories in and calories out, which is calories that you burn. Okay, now if calories in is equal to calories out, then we're going to maintain weight. However, if calories in is less than calories out, then we're going to lose weight. How do we know how many calories you should be eating? Well, in order to do that, we need to go and use a calorie estimator first of all, which will provide us a good starting point. So what you want to do, guys, is you want to come to this website here, which is tdeecalculator.net. You can use other ones. This is just the one that I'm using for the sake of this. Age 32, weight 105 kg, height 190, activity. I always find that you're better off underestimating this than overestimating it, because it seems to be a little bit inaccurate, but I'm going to put down heavy exercise 6 to 7 days a week, 10% body fat, and we calculate it. And this is the number that we care about here, 4,160. So if we go back to here, I know that if I want to eat at maintenance calories, I need to eat 4,160. Now, What if I want to lose weight? Well, ideally, you want somewhere between a 500 calorie deficit. So if we do 500 minus 4,160, I believe that's 3,660. So if I want to eat to lose weight, this is the number that I would start off at. If I want to eat to maintain weight, this is the number I would start off at. Now, this is very important. This is just an estimate and this is not perfect. And I know, looking at these numbers right now, these numbers are too high for me. If I was to eat at 4,160 calories, I would probably gain weight. If you want to manipulate your body composition, which I'm going to assume if you're still watching this video, you do because you're skinny fat and that's what this video is about. There's essentially a hierarchy of importance where you don't get to care about the next thing until you've covered the first level. And the first level is calories, okay? Before you can worry about anything else, you need to get your calories right. If you can't stick to your calories, don't worry about anything else, okay? When it comes to nutrition and specifically changing how your body looks in terms of losing fat and building muscle, calories is the most important variable, bar none, okay? I'm not talking about from a health perspective. We can talk about that in a little bit, but just purely from an aesthetics point of view, calories is the most important variable. And if you can't stick to a calorie amount right now, or you don't know what your calorie amount is, you don't get to go to the next stage yet. Only once you're consistent with your calories do you get to progress to level 2. And level 2 is macros, okay? So once you've got your calories dialed in, the next sort of level up, if you will, where we can make significant improvements is optimizing your macros. And now, if you don't know what macros are, we've essentially got 3 macronutrients. We've got protein, carbs, and fats. Now, when it comes to protein, ideally you want about 1 gram per pound of lean body weight. So for me, I am about 231 pounds. So I'd be eating 231 grams of protein. Carbs and fats, again, I'm going to leave that up to you. That is your choice, because some people prefer to do high carb, low fat. Other people prefer to do high carb, high fat, low carb. Again, like I said at the very beginning, the best diet is the one that you can stick to. What do you feel better on? What diet do you feel better on? That is, if you prefer higher carb, lower fat, then do that. If you prefer higher fat, lower carb, then do that. For me personally, I know if I do higher carb, lower fat, my physique looks better, but I generally just have less energy, I'm less productive, and just mentally, my brain doesn't work as well. However, if I do high fat, low carb, my physique doesn't look quite as good, but my brain seems to function a lot better, and I prefer that, and that's more important to me where I'm at in my life right now. So I genuinely do a higher fat, lower carb approach. So one other thing that's worth mentioning with macros is protein is 4 calories per gram. Carbohydrates is also 4 calories per gram, but fats contain 9 calories per gram. So when you want to work out how much carbs and fats you should be eating, you first of all need to work out your calories from protein. So for me, it will be, if I'm eating 231 grams of protein, I need to times that by 4, which would equal, let's do it right now, 231 times 4 is 924, okay? So I'm getting 924 calories from protein, okay? That's my protein calories. That means that if I want to eat at maintenance, 4,160, I need to do 4,160 minus 924. That means I've got 3,236 calories left. 3,236 calories left to split between carbs and fats. All right, that's everything you need to know about macros. If you're new to this, you're just going to have to play around and find out which works best for you. Do you prefer high carb, low fat? Do you prefer high fat, low carb? That's entirely up to you. Now, once you've got your calories dialed in and your macros dialed in and you're sticking to it with about above 90% macracy, the next level, which is something I'm not really going to talk about too much in this video, is timing, okay? Can we time the macronutrients that we're eating in order to optimize your performance? For example, a lot of people will consume more carbohydrates around their workout because carbohydrates are going to help fuel your workout and give you energy to do that. Another option would be, say if you are really busy with work and you want to be mentally sharp, you might want to avoid carbohydrates around that time and typically consume more fats, because that's just going to help your brain function and focus better. Okay guys, so in order for this framework to work effectively for you, you have to be tracking, okay? I've spoken about this already, but there's essentially 3 things you need to track. You need to track your body weight every single day. You need to track your calories and macros every single day. Jesus, my writing's terrible. And you need to take progress photos, because sometimes the scale is not going to tell the full picture. And if you take photos from week to week to week, it might look like the scale hasn't changed much, especially if you're eating at maintenance calories and you're more on the skinny end of skinny fat. If you just rely on your weight alone, it's going to look like you're not making much progress. But if you take progress photos and keep them on an album on your phone, and then you can easily compare between the first week to month 1, month 2, month 3. Ideally, you want to be taking progress photos every single week, but the more time you compare between the first photo and the next one, the bigger difference you're going to see. And if you do this, then you're going to know if you're making progress. And if you're not making progress, then you know you need to change something. What do you need to change? Well, just ask yourself, are you eating real foods? Yes, you are. Okay, it's not that. Are you eating when the sun is up? Yes, you are. Okay, it's not that. Then it can only be, how much are you eating? Maybe if you're trying to lose weight and you're not losing weight, then you're eating too many calories, and you just need to reduce this number, this number that we're eating right here. You just need to reduce the amount of calories that you eat. And this is a bulletproof plan. This is everything you need to know to not be skinny fat anymore. Guys, what I've just taken you through there is just a small portion of my training, nutrition, lifestyle, and mindset framework. What we've just gone through, everything that we've just gone through there, is just a small portion in the nutrition framework. And if you're curious about learning more about this and how I can personally help you build muscle and lose fat and finally build an aesthetic physique, like I said, I've got a coaching program. The link is down below. Submit an application. We can have a chat and just see if it's a good fit. Because let's be honest, guys, life is too short to be showing up with a skinny fat body. You are showing up as less of a man right now. I honestly believe that your physique is a resume. And if you want to change it, then why not do it right now? What are you waiting for? Because no one else is going to do it. Only you can do it. And with everything that I've gone through here, it is simple in theory, but it's much harder to do in practice. It's very easy to know, but it's much harder to do. And that's essentially what my coaching program is about. Now, if you're fully confident that your nutrition side of things is dialed in, yet you're still not seeing results, maybe you've still got a bit of a belly or you're still skinny fat right now, it could be down to one of 2 reasons. Now, I actually made a video about this already. I'll put it on screen as to the 2 reasons of why you're skinny fat right now and how to fix it. So go watch that video right now. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.